Hello, and welcome to episode 19 of Wisdom Through the Ages. Today I'm going to be making a marble player. Years ago I got this little metal guy playing marbles, a little kid, in an old school hat. So I'm going to do something very similar to this today. I'm going to be making this marble player, and the kid's going to be wearing a yellow and blue striped shirt. So what I'm going to start with here is a little gather that I'm going to flatten, and I'm going to build his shirt pretty much at the shoulders, and then work down to his waist, and then change my puntee there, and then change the puntee around to underneath his waist, and then finish off his arms and his head, and then go back to punteeing on his head or the neck area. So what I'm going to do is flatten this out. And the reality is that this may get changed and removed. So I'm going to be doing more than I need for the shirt. You need to make this thick enough to be believable that the kid is wearing the shirt. So that's a banana yellow from Glass Alchemy, and this blue here is Siberia, an awesome blue from Roger Paramore. I'm working this on a slow flame because I've got a cadmium yellow. For those of you who have watched me work, I really don't do slow. I have no patience at all. So I'm just making a shirt here, like a t-shirt. And this is going to be pretty much a style of shirt and hat that would be worn in the 30s or the 40s or the 50s from some kid playing marbles. You really want to melt those lines in so they're smooth and you don't see a little crease between one color and the other. And I'm going to make this way bigger than I need because it's easier to remove too much than it is to add more glass at the wrong time. So I grew up in the 50s. I was born in 1949. So I had shirts like these. And I played marbles. So I'll let that strike a little bit. And I think I'm going to have this section here, I'm going to start on his arms. That's pretty much got the proper curve that I want. This is what I'm going for here. Now I'm going to start on doing the T part of his t-shirt. And because I've got yellow as the top of his shirt, so what is going to go here, I'm just going to alternate colors going down here. a little teeny air bubble in there. There we go. Now his left arm is going to be hanging down by his left knee. So this will be at a lower angle. Now I'm going to do the yellow. I'm going to remove some of that because I want the upper area here to have 3 little bits of color. Then I'm going to build the arm just down to the elbow, and then I'm going to start working on the head. I'm cleaning up each little bit of the yellow right after I use it, just so that it doesn't give me a problem. Just keep throwing heat into that piece the entire time here. Try and get a gap in between there, between the shoulder and the body. You don't want that to touch. Now I'm going to go back to the Polaris, or no, excuse me, Siberia. What I'm trying to duplicate here is his right shoulder area. Now I'm going to put the last little bit of blue onto his left arm. I'm going to go in and keep making sure that you don't melt that shoulder into the armpit area. So there I've pretty much got what I'm wanting to do with his t-shirt area. So now I'm going to go and do his skin tone, the flesh tone here. This is either Parachino or Paralatte. The Paramore flesh tones are just the most awesome, the best ones to use. This rod here is a lighter one of Paramore's flesh tones. I'm going to use it for the sand where he's playing marbles on the dirt. So that color I'm going to be using for sand, like the marble ring. Let that flesh tone melt in nicely. Now I'm going to do his left elbow area. lay in more than you're going to need, because it's easier to remove it. It's easier to remove it now than to mess around with it later on. So I want to throw heat from multiple angles here. Don't stay in one area too long, because you've got cadmium yellow in there that'll want to burn on you. Now I'm gonna take away half of the elbow area, so that when I come back in and add the forearm, it will meet halfway through the elbow. But you can see this little 45-degree angle here. The arm comes down, I've got half the elbow, and then when I pull out the forearm here, then that will finish the elbow. Throw some heat into the body, just nice and easy. And then now on this one, I'm going to do the same thing with, take away half the elbow. So there's the t-shirt, and the kid's got elbows. Now I'm going to use this rod here to clean up the area that would be right underneath his neck. So I want to lay down glass there that would be, if you're wearing a t-shirt, and the area around your t-shirt where your neck is, it's a little open right below your neck, the hole of the t-shirt. And then again, his head is going to be kind of forward and then looking down. So right here, this is going to wipe down a little bit. There's the wipe. Then remove that glass, melt that in. And then now remove it again. And that will give an area that's below his neck. And then from here, I'll take the neck out. I'm going to build the head in 3 parts. The first will be the neck component. You can kind of see here how it's got the area that would be open in the hole of the t-shirt itself. This technique for doing a head and neck was taught to me by Lucio Babaco. I've studied with him 3 times. Once I was lucky enough to spend 10 days in Murano in his studio. Okay, the first step here is this blank that is pretty much roughly the neck. Now the next part is kind of referred to as a chin strut. If I want the chin to come out forward from the neck area, I want to get something that I can actually build my face on. So I've got a gather here. I'm going to go flatten, sideways, sideways. And then I'm going to go upside down. I just realized my neck is a little bit aimed on the wrong side here. I had an air bubble in there. Okay, now I'm going to do this chin strut. And it's going to be flattened, sideways, sideways. And the strut gives you a platform to build the face on. I'm building this upside down. Throw some heat into the body of the piece. You can see how this area for the chin is way bigger than you need, but that's what you want. Because when I come in here to lay the head down, I want to come in with more glass than I need and kind of hot so that it flows down the length of that chin strut and leaves no seams. You don't want to show a seam on it. You can see how that's already wanting to become the face. And it's all from that chin strut thing. Now I'm going to heat this whole thing up, grab the back of the head right there. You'll see how I tapered that around. And that's kind of what I'm shooting for. So now I'm going to clean up this tip of this rod of, it's either Paracino or Paralatte, but it's one of his face tones. And when I do people, I really go to Paramore face tones. They're the best ones. I'm actually going to throw a little more glass on either side, kind of roughly where you would think the ear might go. And I want that to round out. And then now I'm going to come back in and pull the head back up a little. Now I'm going to grab part of the face and steal the glass down and pull my chin out of that. Now is the time to do a little thing for a mouth. Not really an opening, but just an indentation. Do a couple of little ears. And on this thing here, this size, you're not really going to do something perfect. You really want to give the impression or the illusion of the ear. It's not going to be great. I'm going to put a little more glass behind his head. Now I'm going to add more glass, this as a bridge between his head and what I'm going to be using to do as a punty to hold the top of his head. And I'm going to put the punty here. So from here, I may add another row of blue underneath the yellow that's the lowest part of his shirt. And then I'll start doing his blue jeans. And the color I'm going to use on his blue jeans is the old Glasstronics, the blue purple. It's kind of a blue color, and then it strikes to a very nice purple, or a purple slash blue, really. Getting the clear that was on that area that I had punted. So I need to add more of the blue on his t-shirt, and then I'll start with his jeans. Keep drawing heat back into everywhere down there. I'm going to need to change the angle a tiny bit more here. I'm going to throw a little bit more yellow on the very bottom. Throw a little more heat into the body and the head. You want to really melt in those lines from one shirt color to the next color. I'm going to move his right shoulder area a little more to the middle. There we go. Now I'm going to lay in more glass with this Glasstronics. This is the old original Glasstronics recipe, not the new stuff. I don't like the new stuff. About maybe 9 or 10 years ago, I was teaching at Glasscraft in Golden, Colorado. And while I was there, I stocked up on some supplies, and they had the Glasstronics here, this stuff, for like $30 a pound. And it's something that I needed to stock up on, and I had just sold a lot of glass to the class that I was teaching. So I said, yeah, I think I'm going to buy me 30 pounds, but $900 worth of glass, which I don't do. But for whatever reason, it just seemed to be the right thing to do. So I bought 30 pounds of this glass for $30. And when I got home from that trip, like 3 or 4 days later, word got out that Glasstronics was going out of business and they won't be selling it anymore. Okay, so now the color here on the bottom is the Glastronics. The blue on the body is Siberia from Paramore. So what I'm going to make here is his butt. You can see how this is going to go. So I need to do the butt where it's actually to the rear a little bit, and then the knees are going to come down. This kid is playing where he's kind of like splayed out. Or his legs are. So I'm going to put in a crease that will define the left and the right leg. Now I'm going to do the right leg, upper leg, his thigh down to his knee. I'm going to do a little condensing on this first so that I get a little gather that'll come in. Throw a little heat in the head. You're going to forget about throwing heat in the head. Throughout my entire career, I've really been more of a person that duplicates things that I can see a picture of, or I can get a little plastic toy of it. I'm not a good artist. I can't draw, but I can mimic. Trying to heat that hip area up. Keep going back in. Make sure to heat that head. I'm going to remove a little bit of the glass on the outside aspect of the right knee, because that's where the lower leg will come from. Now I'm going to do the upper left leg. Keep drawing heat around that whole place. Second stage red, well dosed nicely. Heat into the head. Now I can clean up those ears and his nose and stuff after the fact. Now's the time you want to put kind of like an area where his right butt cheek would be. And same thing, or the left and then the right. I'm going to make his legs a little bit longer or thicker now, from his ass to the middle of the leg, the thigh area. I'm slowly building up this area here that's going to kind of match there. Now I'm going to build up more of the glass on his left upper thigh. Going to remove a little bit of that. Now I've already taken a little bit of the glass off of the right knee, and I'm going to do the same thing here on the left knee. Now I'm going to do the lower leg on both sides. And this is where this design will actually come together right now. I put that second leg in, and the second half of it. Now I'm going to come in and do the foreleg of his left side. Throw a little heat into the head, the body. Now the thing here on his shoes, and first he's going to be wearing white socks. That's pretty much what everybody wore back then. And not just a little dab of white here, giving the illusion that he's wearing white socks. And then I'm going to put a gatherer glass. I'm just going to do his shoes in black. Heating that whole thing up. I'm just going to gather right at the end of the white. And gather a black here into the white again. Throw heat back into the body. The further you get into this piece, the more often you're going to have to go back into the body and keep the entire thing hot. Now his feet are going to be splayed out sideways. And that's going to make his shoes go sideways. like so. Keep throwing heat into the head, onto the body, the waist, the butt, the legs, pretty much everywhere. A little heat into the body, the legs. I'm going to try and heat up the lower leg area. I think I'm pretty happy with the way that's looking there. Now this guy, when I weld it down, he's actually going to be, I'm going to put two little clear dots underneath his knees, or kind of midline between the knee and the ankle. Because if I do a nice weld here with clear right here, and then I do another nice clear right here, then when I weld onto the grass field, this will weld in cleanly. Now I'm going to burn this off his head. I'm going to do his two arms. Kind of redefining a little bit of the ears, the tip of his nose. This will be his right shooting hand. You want to fold this around as if his hand is going to shoot a marble. Now his left hand, throw some heat into the entire body here, make this good. Keep throwing some heat into the entire part of the body, the butt, the legs, the crotch, pretty much everything. Now he's going to be wearing a brown hat. And it's going to be an old school kind of a hat. Using a marble mold to smooth that out. Time to throw some heat back into the body. And then the hat has a real small bill on it. So here's the little kid playing marbles. I'm going to be making the sand lot, the area here. And I'm going to be using this, it's either Paralatte or Parachino. It's one of the Roger Paramore colors. And here is a little guy here. Very pleased with how that came out. So I really thought about how to go about doing this little field of sand, like a sand lot. And part of me was thinking that, well, I could just do a huge gather and then just flatten it. And the problem with huge gathers that you go to flatten, they don't really flatten out like you would think or plan on it. So what I'm going to go for here is multiple gathers next to each other, flattened, next to each other, flattened, next to each other, flattened. And this will give an uneven look to the background. So I'm just going to keep doing this until I get an area that is the size of what I'm looking to cover. Now I'm going to actually just go around through here, add a lot more gathers of glass, just haphazardly throwing them in here. Now there's a ring, a marble ring here, a circle, and I'm actually going to use the bottom of this for my circle. Now I'm going to change my puntty. This here will be the marble circle. Now I'm going to try and make this probably twice as long as it is. And the way I'm doing this is just adding little gathers and then flattening them. Keep that hot right here at the puntty. Keep that whole thing hot. I'm just going to continue to add more glass here on the sandlot area. I'm going to kind of check this for scale. I think that's going to work out real well. I'm going to put in a few little marbles. Keep this whole thing hot. A flat section like this plays with heat differently. It leaves heat rather quickly. Well, I'm going to attach the marble player to the sand lot. What I did not want to do